Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josiah Twist and I'm the Company Sergeant Major from 509 Army Cadet Unit Linwood. It is my honour to be your Master of Ceremonies. Thank you for attending the 44th Battalion Memorial Service. This will be the 4th hour of the service and there are 10 more to go throughout the day. I would like to start by recognising the special guests and support we have present for this ceremony. Kate Cheney, Member of Parliament for Curtin, the St Mary's Anglican Girls' School, and 51 Army Cadet Unit Swan Regiment Drums and Pipes. As well as that, 509 Army Cadet Unit will be the catapult party. I now ask everyone please to stand for the mounting of the catapult party.
Catapult party by the centre. Row. March.
Hello, my name is Luke Anderson. I'm the founder and director of the 44th Australian Infantry Battalion Memorial and the great-grandson of John McKean who served in that unit. I'm also a trooper in the Australian Army Reserves. I created the 44th Battalion Memorial in March of this year because I saw a real lack of recognition for this particular unit. It was one of 5 battalions raised in Western Australia during the Great War. However, it is the only one to no longer exist, having been disbanded in 1960. As such, it has started to become forgotten over the years. They do not have their own physical cenotaph, and until now, they did not have their banner marched on Anzac Day. The stories of the thousands of men who served with the battalion and the 482 who gave supreme sacrifice in the defence of our country are at real risk of fading away. This is the first memorial service dedicated solely to the 44th Battalion in many years, as the old association ceased to exist long ago. There will be 15 ceremonies today, going from dawn until dusk, one representing a different battle and having different songs, poems and stories. The names of all the soldiers on the 44th Battalion Honour Roll will be read throughout the day. There is an honour guard, band and speakers present throughout the whole day, and the main ceremony will take place at 11 a.m, where His Excellency the Governor of Western Australia, Chris Dawson AC APM, will review the memorial. Our memorial aims to keep the individual stories of the soldiers alive. We do this through our interactive website, which details how many days a specific soldier was at the front line, what awards they earned, what battles they fought in, when they were sick, what they did before the war, who their family were, and etc. This is quite a demanding project, as even if we complete one soldier a day, it would take over 6 years to complete. Luckily, many members of the community donate their time to complete the biographies of these soldiers. We have done 12 small ceremonies in the suburbs of Perth, the towns of the Wheatbelt, and with the Swedish Embassy in Canberra, commemorating nearly 70 individual soldiers so far. I thank you all for attending and hope that you find this a meaningful service.
Thank you, Director. I'll now read out the story of the 44th Battalion, Australian Imperial Force. Raised in Claremont in January 1916, it was the last battalion to be raised in Western Australia during the war. It originally left WA with 1,000 men under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Mansbridge on the 6th of June 1916 and arrived in England the following month to continue their training. They nicknamed themselves Old Bill's 1,000. Another 1,500 men would join the 44th as reinforcements over the following 18 months. The 44th Battalion, AIF, arrived in France in late November 1916, and the following month was sent to the front lines of the Armontreuil sector. Over a period of 3 months, the battalion suffered nearly 70 killed with constant attritional warfare. From May to August 1917, the 44th Battalion fought brutal engagements at the mezzanines and suffered nearly 130 killed in the deadliest overall engagement for the unit. Lieutenant Colonel James Clark took over command of the unit after the battle and would remain in command until the end of the war. The deadliest month for their entire service came in October 1917. Shortly after the Battle of Messines, they committed to the hellish fighting at Passchendaele and Gravesend. In this span of less than 3 weeks, the battalion suffered 90 killed and 750 wounded or sick. Casualty rate of 84%. After months of recovering, the 44th Battalion was desperately committed to slow down the advance of the German Spring Offensive from March to May 1918. Suffering nearly 60 killed, but successfully halting the enemy advance in one of the most chaotic operations of the war, often not knowing where the front line was. On the 4th of July 1918, the West Australians fought alongside the Americans in one of their first engagements, the Battle of Hamilton, suffering 30 killed in a single day. The month of August saw the battalion fight and win in 2 decisive battles, the Battle of Amiens and the Second Battle of the Somme. From this point onwards, the Imperial German Army was in constant retreat until the end of the war 100 days later. The battalion suffered only 25 killed during these remaining battles, but seized vast amounts of territory and took many prisoners. The final operation of the war for the 44th Battalion was to cross the St. Quentin Canal, take Mount St. Quentin, and breach the heavily defended Hindenburg Line. This occurred on the 29th of September 1918. All of the battalion's objectives were seized on the first day, though at the cost of 30 killed. For the remainder of the war, the 44th Battalion was down to just company strength, as reinforcements had ceased arriving for half a year. Only 80 men were capable of fighting. As such, it conducted rear duties until the armistice. During the war, the 44th Battalion, AIF, fought in nearly 2 dozen engagements and received some 16 battle honours. 2,642 men served with the battalion, whom 1,793 had become casualties, with 482 paying the ultimate price. This represents a casualty rate of 68% and a death rate of 18. For their service, members of the battalion received 125 awards for gallantry in action, 19 awards for leadership in action, 5 awards for other acts of service, 11 foreign awards from the United States, Belgium and France, and 1 man was anointed into an Order of Chivalry. After the war, the 44th Battalion was reformed as a citizens' military force, consisting of 3 companies in Perth and 1 in Bunbury. In the 1920s, it received King's Colours, regimental colours, and a cap badge depicting Grass Street, a motto, an alliance with the Essex Regiment, and their regimental name became the West Australian Rifles. This unit continued to serve until the 1960s, being on home defence duties during the Second World War. Its lineage continues today as the Royal West Australian Regiment.
Stop.
Many of the remaining officers were also go a second go against the army. The formation of the battalion was not an easy task to complete the big 1,000 souls comprising were divided into 4 companies. The men did not know anyone outside their own immediate commons. They did not know the sergeants or officers, nor did they understand the meaning of the word discipline, that they had to be in camp at a certain hour each night, and that the permission had to be obtained in order to leave camp. Khaki was not available for about 2 months after the battalion was formed, and the soldiers' privilege of complaining was again well exercised. New uniforms were issued almost immediately on formation. They were a kind of dungaree with trouser bottoms on the coat, no pockets in the trousers, and plenty of play around the ankles. With nice white hats and tan military boots, the battalion on parade looked well from a distance. A surprising feature of those days was the lack of enthusiasm which the men detailed for Kentucky, Perth and Fremantle showed for the job when they had to go in blues. They could not be persuaded that they looked like real soldiers. Drill and training at Claremont was the same old grind tool familiar to all men of the Australian Imperial Force. Section drills, physical jerks, rifle exercises, musketry, trench digging, machine guns, signalling, route marching, saluting and lectures from morning until night. As he carried out each parade, the soldier wanted to know how that particular item made him any more fit to fight the Germans. From February until June, it was hard going. In the early stages, individual training was the rule. It is laid down in the big books that no military instructor is of any use whatsoever unless he can find and correct faults. They could find faults anywhere, anytime and anyhow. On no occasion were any of the officers or NCOs at a loss for words. There was always some poor old private who did not have the correct slope, or his feet would not turn out properly, or else it was too slow, or even sometimes too quick. He did not get down smartly enough into the firing position, his heels stuck up, his eyes were not on the mark, and so on and so forth, week in and week out. During the month of May, the stage was reached when the rumor got busy. All men had taken their final leave, and equipment and clothing, down to the first field dressing, and identity lists had been issued, and so, naturally, for 6 weeks before the actual embarkation, some whispers knew a chap who had the dinkum-oil from the colonel's batman that they were off at daybreak in the morning. But don't tell anyone, as it's a secret. Of course, the whole camp would rush off to say their last goodbyes, only to find that the next day there was another fur feed, and that the program for the day was the same old rifle exercises. It was a long wait, but in early June 1916, after over 4 months of training, the battalion paraded and received a straight wire from the colonel's own lips that the 44th would embark for active service overseas on the 6th of June 1916.
Thank you. Throughout the days, the names of 482 soldiers of the 44th Battalion who paid the ultimate sacrifice will be read out. In this particular hour, 4 speakers will each read out 10 names. Now call Kate Cheney, MP, from St Mary Anglican Girls' School and Memorial Director, to assist with reading the honour roll.
Lance Corporal Joe Billings, farmhand from Perth, died of wounds at Albert, 22nd of August 1918, aged 30. Private James Burney, farmer from Bridgetown, killed in action at Warnerton, 2nd of August 1917, aged 30. Private Harry William Bishop, timber hand from North Perth, killed in action at Passchendaele, 11th of October 1917, aged 42. Private Thomas Blakey, farmhand from East Fremantle, killed in action at Warnerton, 13th July 1917, aged 19. Private Herbert William Blaine, farmer from Bruce Rock, died of wounds at Passchendaele, 28th of October 1917, aged 26. Private Reuben Stephen Blake, farmhand from Narangara, died of wounds at Moreland Court, 5th of May 1918, aged 23. Private Percival Swithin Blick, bootmaker from Subiaco, killed in action at the Hindenburg Line, 29th of September 1918, aged 25. Lieutenant Alfred Herbert Bond, hardware assistant from Highgate, died of wounds at Passchendaele, 12th of October 1917, aged 29. That's actually my great-great-grandfather. Private William Charles Bond, woodcutter from Maylands, died of wounds at Messines, 10th of June 1917, aged 22. Captain Thomas Henry Bone, teacher from Boulder, killed in action at Passchendaele, 5th of October 1917, aged 26.
Private Alfred Ernest Bound, plumber from Beverly, died of wounds at the scenes, 30th of July 1917, aged 40. Private Frederick Fawns, station assistant from Perth, killed in action at Hamel, 4th of July, aged 35. Second Lieutenant Henry William Butcher, cashier from Perth, died of wounds at Melloncourt, 21st of April 1918, aged 26. Private Leslie Howard Bower, bookkeeper from Kalgoorlie, killed in action at Hamel, 8th of August 1918, aged 24. Private Robert William Bothold, drama from Gillingarra, killed at the scenes, 1st of June 1917, aged 23. Private James Brentnall, farmer from Coconut, died of wounds, 17th of October 1918, aged 25. Sergeant William Bridge, millman from Kalgoorlie, killed in action by the German Spring Offensive, 5th of April 1918, aged 34. Private Smith Brook, bookmaker from North Bay, died of wounds during the German Spring Offensive, 29th of April, March 1918, aged 41. Private Thomas Brotherson, grocer from Donnybrook, killed in action at Broadston Bridge, 4th of October 1917, aged 32. Lance Corporal Richard Gaffney Brown, clerk from Karrakatta, killed in action during the German Spring Offensive, 28th of March 1918, aged 21.
Private Walter Brown, tramway employee from Fremantle, killed in action at Passchendaele, 6th of October 1917, aged 27. Captain William Thomas Bryan, civil servant from Perth, killed in action at Messines, 8th of June 1917, aged 36. Private Ernest Edward Bryan, labourer from North Fremantle, killed in action at Messines, 24th of June 1917, aged 19. Sergeant Robert Buchanan, shearer from Kittanning, killed in action at the Hindenburg Line, 29th of September 1918. Private John Buckland, mill hand from Jarradale, killed in action at Messines, 7th of July 1917, aged 20. Private Alan Lester Buckmaster, warder from Broughton Asylum, died of wounds at Armentières, 1st of February 1917, aged 44. Private William Robert Byers, bootmaker from Perth, died of wounds at Armentières, 23rd of January 1917, aged 23. Sergeant Leonard Frederick Ditch, labourer from Jolimont, killed in action at Brucine Bridge, 4th of October 1917, aged 31. Private Duncan Cameron, coach trimmer from Bayswater, killed in action at Armentières, 31st of December 1916, aged 24. Private Archibald Campbell, driver from Perth, killed in action at Messines, 10th of July 1917, aged 20.
Private Walter Leslie Campbell, ironmonger from Victoria, killed in action during the German Spring Offensive, 28th of March 1918, age 31. Second Lieutenant Cecil Frank Carson, bank clerk from Kalgoorlie, killed in action during the German Spring Offensive, 4th of April 1918, age 23. Lieutenant Robert Casey, Military Cross, blacksmith from Cottesloe, died of wounds during the German Spring Offensive, 7th of April 1918, age 26. Corporal William Augustus Champion, labourer from East Fremantle, died during service, 22nd of January 1921, age 39. Private Joseph Chandler, labourer from Highgate, killed in action at Armentières, 14th of March 1917, age 25. Private Sydney Gordon Cheverton, blacksmith striker from Norseman, died of wounds at Passchendaele, 10th of October 1917, age 20. Private Donald Valentine Chisholm, military medal, farmer from Victoria, killed in action at the Hindenburg Line, 29th of September 1918, age 26. Private Leonard Aubrey Chisholm, porter from Geraldton and brother of Donald Chisholm, died of wounds at Passchendaele, 3rd of October 1917. Private Clarence Malcolm Clare, machinist from Cottesloe, killed in action at Amiens, 8th of August 1918, age 23. Private Norman Thomas Clark, shop assistant from Boulder, killed in action at Hamel, 5th of July 1918, age 22.
They were Australian soldiers, were experts in close combat. They were physically and mentally tough, compassionate and courageous. They led by example. They strove to take the initiative. They were committed to learning and working for their team. They believed in trust, loyalty and respect. For their countries, their mates in the army, the rising sun was their badge of honour. They are always Australian soldiers. Thanks to those who helped in reading out the honour roll. I now call on St Mary's Anglican Girls' School to read out the story of the 44th Battalion embarkation.
The battalion embarked on His Majesty's Australian Transport Hero, A29 at Fremantle, and he passed off on the afternoon of the 6th of June, leaving behind the biggest crowd of people that had ever been on the West Australian water. From the ship, the war continued to blaze apart, the streets reflecting across the ever-increasing gaps between land and ship. Flags flying and hands with waves, the sea was most different. The feelings of the trip were mixed. Glad to get away from the routine and monotony of peace, and yet sorry to the loss of loved ones, perhaps for all time. The ship was uncomfortably crowded, with over 1,600 men from 4 different units. There was just enough room to move. Practically, the space available for exercise was only enough for one recruit at a time. That parade consisted principally of lectures. There was only enough accommodation for 1/3 of the personnel on board. Consequently, 3 boat lists were drawn up, giving everyone a fortnight of the 6-week journey. After the first few days, lectures became very stale and miles were told instead. There is nothing so monotonous as a long voyage on a crowded cruise ship. Boat stations and inspections, inspections of courses and other inspections, in fact everything but an inspection, these, with sports and concerts, helped to pass the time. Gambling was not officially allowed, but nevertheless the troops played poker for fun and house for money. Don't is a word the Aussies cannot make friends with. Sickness became prevalent in spite of the good work of the Australian Army Medical Corps, and unfortunately, the battalion suffered its first death on board the ship. A young lad from Claremont, who had built up quite the reputation for his boxing skills, was the first victim, and the funeral service made a deep impression on everyone. With the ship stopped in mid-ocean, the padre standing over the dead, reciting the mortuary service, all ranks with bared and bowed heads. The bugler's last post, the firing party's volley, and and then the heart moving splash, and one comrade lived only in the memory of those who had known him in life. The sense of loss was great, and in striking contrast to the impression that even the less had to lose later on in years. Time hung heavily. Any strange fish or the spout of a whale was sufficient to draw the attention of all the unoccupied. The main employment of the officers throughout the voyage was the censorship of letters. The instructions as to include information were very strict, as this has been before. They entered the submarine zone, where at night all portholes had to be closed, all light extinguished, and no smoking was allowed on deck. Strict watch had to be kept in the submarine, and the guard's eyes became glary due to staring at the same sector of water for hours at a time. Crossing the equator was celebrated by the usual ceremony and jollification of the time. One of the doctors was appointed as Father Neptune, and with his many vassals, instruments of torture, and nasty-tasting pills, he gave all the men something to help them remember the day. Towards the finish, the ceremony became a general malaise, in which a number of the previous victims tried to give Neptune a dose of his own medicine. Finally, on the 26th of July 1916, the HMAS Slevik arrived at Devonport, England. Most of the men got their first glimpse of Blighty bathed in the most glorious morning sunset. The voyage had cost the lives of 2 men.
Thank you. The piper from the 51 Army Cadet Unit, Swan Regiment drums will now play. Thank you. I now invite the St Mary's Anglican Girls' School to read out the poem, Flanders Fields.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scars heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the flow, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us you die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
Thank you. We will now lay the wreaths at the base of the memorial. Wreaths will be laid on behalf of Kate Channing MP, St Mary's Anglican Girls' School, the 44th Battalion Infantry Battalion Memorial, and the 509 Army Cadet Unit, Linwood. Upon the conclusion of laying wreaths, I invite anyone in the audience to also lay a wreath if they have one. The piper from 51 Army Cadet Unit, Swan Regiment's drums and pipes, play the lament. invite everyone to please stand for the reciting of the oath and remain standing for the last oath, the 1 minute silence, the rouse, the Australian Royal Anthem, and the Australian National Anthem. All of these, except the Australian Royal Anthem, will be played by a 51 Army Cadet unit, Swan Regiment drums and pipes. They shall grow not old, as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, or the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget. I now invite the Memorial Director to give you the closing address. I also ask that everyone take part in a formal photo in front of the memorial at the conclusion of this specific ceremony.
That is the end of the ceremony. Thank you all for attending. To end this ceremony, I leave you with a quote by Captain Longmore regarding the 44th Battalion. While memory lives, however, the fighting 44th will never die. To be with them over there was a privilege and an honour, a glorious page in any man's life. And when the final evening comes to us all, and the last pipe has been smoked, it will be of the comrades who wore the blue and white oval patch that will be proudly thinking. Theirs was a tradition that Australia will do well to perpetuate, whilst there's a growing generation of free men and women left to be inspired by it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are those free men and women.